So this video is a continuation of our body workflow. We've already done the body, we've already done the head, we've already done the painter workflow for the skin. So now what we're going to do is go from that to face tools, because right now we only have generic face shapes and generic face wrinkles. So remember, there's three things we're juggling here: the base head, just the neutral base head, what the character looks like. The base shapes, essentially, if we go in here to the motion tab, when we say edit facial, we can go through here and I can like take the jaw joint, I suppose, and I can move this down, and the jaw open is essentially this shape right here. If I want to make the mouth thinner, etc., let's go ahead and reset to 0, like the lips right here. If I want to make, let's double click this to deselect all these. We'll take the lips and then we'll purse them. You can see when he goes and he purses his lips, it's kind of subtle. When I purse my lips, it's a pretty small shape, right? So let's say these shapes aren't really doing it for us. And on top of these shapes, we also have expression wrinkles. So if I go out of that mode and we go over here to our expression wrinkles tab, and again, in order to get to that, make sure you have the top character node selected, go to the expression wrinkles tab, activate expression wrinkles, check with expressions, and then let's go ahead and reset neutral here. So when they go brow up, you're going to see I do have, looks like generic expression wrinkles in there. If you've watched the expression wrinkles video prior to this, you already know how all this works. You can go in here to content, actor, dial in. You can steal expression wrinkles from Kevin and genericize them. You can bring in the neutral expression wrinkles, which it looks like these are. You can get the expression wrinkle essentials pack from the Real Illusion Marketplace, and you can use, these realistic wrinkles to apply to your character. The problem I have with these is I already have wrinkly skin. If I take this overall influence down, this brow up shape, it's good enough. I could tweak it if I want to. The shape's okay, but on the pursed lip shape, I want to really enhance that, or the smile, or the frown, and the jaw open. All those shapes I want to fix. And then on that third layer of things we're juggling here, the expression wrinkles, all of these textures that are being piped in to generate these wrinkle maps as that brow goes up, you're going to see he already has wrinkly skin. And now I'm putting just generic wrinkles on top of that. They don't quite match up. So in this particular case, I'm going to call this the pared down face tools workflow. We've done the body, we've done the head. Yes, we can throw on wrinkles and enhance those wrinkles. And if this character wasn't so wrinkly to begin with those baked in memory wrinkles in his skin, then I would probably say, hey, steal him from Kevin, steal him from the neutral wrinkles, and just enhance what's there. Since he already is he's already got such pronounced wrinkles in his skin already, I'm just going to take those wrinkles and enhance those so that it looks more natural. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to my neutral face here by clicking this button. I'm going to hit this little trash can up here. We're going to delete the wrinkles off of him, and we're going to send him over and send him to face tools, and we're going to change his shapes and his expression wrinkles, but we're not going to send over any wrinkle data. We're going to start fresh, just clean slate on those expression wrinkles. So how I'm going to do that is, again, make sure your character is selected, go over here to face tools, and we're going to say base model only. This is going to send the base model and those base shapes over. No wrinkles are going to get baked into those expression wrinkles. So we're going to say base model only. We do want our normal details checked. That's what's going to send over those wrinkles, those kind of baked in neutral face wrinkles. It's going to send those over as a layer. And that's it. That's all we need to do. We're going to go ahead and create new. Oh, we'll stick with the 2K resolution. That's fine. We'll hit Go Z. All right. And it's sent over our head. I'm going to assume you've already watched the face tools in depth previous videos of this. So I'm going to go a little bit faster. I'm not going to cover everything in detail, but I'm just going to walk you through the process of doing your own bespoke wrinkles with just the face shapes and modifying the face shapes on this custom character we have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go grab our plugin. So I'm going to take our brush menu and just click that white button, and then go in here to Z plugin, drag that white dot over, and we're going to open up the ZBrush face tools. You're going to see the detail layer is turned on. We're just going to leave that on the entire time we're sculpting, just to use as reference. And this detail layer will get baked out with all the expressions we're going to do. So it's, no need to worry. We're going to have these details with us the entire time we're sculpting. We do want to turn our diffuse map into a Polypaint so that when we go in and if we want a Polypaint on the expression wrinkles to add redness or AO, it's available to us. So the detail layer we're going to leave on. If you want to turn it off, you can go ahead and just turn that off. And remember, by turning off this here, you can go over to your layers. And you're going to see all this did was turn this detail layer off. If I go over here and turn on diffuse, that's going to go grab our diffuse texture from Character Creator for the head. And let's switch the material out to Skin Shader 4. Just so we can see it a little bit better. And then we're going to go over here to texture map. You're going to see our texture is now on. It's loaded in the texture map from Character Creator. We can now go into Polypaint. We can say Polypaint from texture. Before you do that, of course, we have our standard brush selected. By default, Z-Add is probably on. Make sure you just turn on RGB. Make sure it's up to 100. So when we hit Polypaint from texture, it'll allow you to do that. Then you can just turn RGB off for your standard brush. So now it's turn your texture off. And if we scroll up to our subtool menu, you're going to see it's turned on this little colorize paintbrush icon. That's just turning colorize on and off. So our texture has been transferred to a Polypaint at subdivision level 6. So these millions of polygons are capturing the RGB information from our texture map to our verts. So now let's go ahead and turn our detail layer back on. And you're going to see when we do that, that's what's going to make that skin detail pop. And again, that's just a layer just sitting out here holding all of that detail information. So now at this point, we're just going to go through every single expression and modify it to our liking using the pre-existing wrinkle information. So we'll start from the top. We'll go to Brow Raise. I'm going to click this button. That's going to leave our detail layer on, but it's going to also turn on our brow raise layer and turn on the little record dot here. So now the brow raise is recordable. I'm going to be sculpting on that, and our detail layer is still on. Now, when I'm looking at brow raise, I'm going to compare it to my own face. I've already got a bunch of reference movies that I've shown. So here's my expression brow raise. If I bring this up, you can see this is me from all angles just doing a brow raise. So I can kind of see what's happening while I'm doing that. I'm going to have this reference down below. And if it's also really useful when you're doing expressions. If I was just to go in here, number one, I may not want to look at the Polypaint while I'm sculpting. There's two ways you can kind of get rid of that. Number one is you can go up here to render and you can take this fade opacity and you can just fade this out a little bit. So if you want to see a little more of your mesh here, and in fact, we can switch from Skin Shader 4 to like green metallic or matte cap gray or whatever you like to use. You can, again, go in here to render and you can just kind of fade out your RGB information. Or you can go in here and just turn off colorize. And that's going to be temporary. We do want our Polypaint to be on this expression. We just don't want it on while we're sculpting these wrinkles. So again, we have our detail layer turned on, so we can use this as a reference guide. Again, if I scroll down here and we just turn this off. If I don't have my detail layer on, it's hard to see where those wrinkles are that are kind of built into the face. So we're going to leave that on, but we are going to make sure that we are on the brow raise layer and it is in record mode. See how this is already turned on? All it's doing is making sure your brow raise is on, it's set to 1, and that little dot is checked, and we're recording so we can sculpt on it. Now, it did turn my Polypaint back on, so I'm going to go ahead and turn that colorize off. So now we have our brow raise. The problem with this is it just looks like he's staring at me. I didn't really see him raising his brow. So if you ever want to see that, you can go in here to your layers, turn off recording temporarily, and then just take the slider and drop it down to 0. And now you can see, oh, that's the shape. That's what he's doing with his face. That's the skin sliding and bunching up here. Now you're going to see when his brow goes up, there's not a lot of bunching going on here. When my brow goes up, you're going to see I do have some memory wrinkles in there. And when I do that, those are enhanced. And then my skin kind of bubbles out, you know. So we're going to do the exact same thing for this character. And it's fairly simple to do. So again, now that we've seen what the brow raise is doing and what we need to enhance, we're going to go back into record mode, go back and keep turning off colorize here. You can set a hotkey for that if you'd like, I guess. And then we're going to enhance these wrinkles. You don't have to start at subdivision level 6. That's where we're at with all the detail. You can drop this down to like subdivision level 4, subdivision level 3, whatever makes the most sense. Subdivision level 4 is usually where I go if I want to sculpt on a lower res version, but I still want to see those wrinkles. So I'm going to go into my, you can Google this on the internet, damn standard O2 brush is great for this kind of thing. So I'm going to go through here and start sculpting. There's two things we're changing when we're doing this expression fixes. One is our shape. In this case, I'm not going to change the shape that much. And remember, the shape is your subdivision level 1. When he does a brow raise, you're going to see this is the shape he's making. When I do a brow raise, it actually pulls, I pull a little higher in here. So if you wanted to, you can go through here. Let's turn on, tap X to go into X symmetry here. We can say, you know what? Oh, and if you want to be able to make your brush size bigger, just double click dynamic here in your draw size. So we can go through here and we can change that shape. So now this is going to make more sense. You know what? I'm going to hold off on this information until we get the mouth pucker or another shape. I think it'll make more sense. But for now, we're going through here and we're just going to say, hey, brow up is going to give, he's going to go a little bit higher. So now let's go back up to subdivision level 4 so we can see these wrinkles. And so we fixed the shape, and now we're going to go through here with our damn standard O2 brush. I'm going to make it kind of big, and I'm going to, again, we already have pre-existing wrinkles, those memory wrinkles for our neutral head, and we're just going to take those and enhance those because that's where they came from. But first what we need to do is turn off X symmetry because, you know, oftentimes these wrinkles, they're rarely symmetrical. So we're going to go through here and we're going to, again, just enhance these pre-existing forehead wrinkles. You know, let's go to subdivision level 5 so we can see these a little bit. There we go. And if you want to, you can go all the way up to 6. I will make a caveat to that statement when we get into bubbling this out, because right now all I'm kind of doing, damn standard O2 has a cool effect where it kind of digs in and also bubbles out around the cut in a little bit, but we're going to need to enhance that a little. Now, remember, we fixed the shape, but we are now cutting in detail in subdivision level 6. Things that go on in subdivision level 1 are just shapes that gets sent over to Character Creator as the game res. Anything above subdivision level 1 gets baked into a normal map. However, you know, it'll let me sculpt wherever I want. However, for the brow raise shape, if we go over here and say apply mask or turn on range, that'll show you where you're allowed, or basically what it's going to capture and fade out. So if you do any sculpting beyond this, it's not going to bake that to a normal map. When the brows go up, it's only going to pipe in a texture in this area. And that makes sense, right? You don't want to do a brow raise and then have some normal map pop up back here in the back of the head. So this makes sense as to what detail map is going to be piped in whenever the brows go up. So if you want a visual representation of that, just hit apply mask and you can see. If you want to play it safe and you want to be allowed to kind of just sculpt without seeing that, but you don't want to be bothered by a mask sitting there visually, you can go in here and you can actually do a render fade opacity. It'll actually fade that mask out. Or you can go down here to masking and say turn off view mask. So as I'm sculpting and I go down here, you're going to see it's going to stop sculpting. The mask is still there, so it's kind of a safety net, but it doesn't have to be visual if you don't want. So I'm just going to go through here and I'm going to enhance, you know, these wrinkles. Again, these are the pre-existing wrinkles. I'm just going through and deepening them because, again, that's where we get those memory wrinkles, is by wrinkling your face over and over. In this case, he's a little sun damaged. He obviously isn't getting any Botox, so he's going to be fairly wrinkly, but that's okay. That adds to his character. So we've enhanced these wrinkles. Now, again, when I do my brow raise, it doesn't just deepen the wrinkles, my skin compresses and bunches up. If we go through here with like our standard brush, it'll work. And we're on subdivision level 6. If you want to, you can, again, drop down to like subdivision level 3 or subdivision level 4. That will kind of protect those really high frequency details and allow you to kind of sculpt up. You can also, if you want to sculpt on subdivision level 6, the only thing I'll caution you with is, like, if you use a clay brush, and we'll turn off RGB for this brush, that just wipes out any of your skin detail. So what you don't want to have happen is you do a brow raise and then your pores disappear, because they don't disappear when your brows raise. So I wouldn't use a clay brush, but you can use hit B on your keyboard, hit F to narrow it down to the brushes that start with F, and there's a form soft brush. So if you use this on your higher level details, or your higher level subdivision levels, this will allow you to kind of inflate and bubble out your geometry without destroying your high resolution detail. So you can use this in conjunction with going to a lower subdivision, or you can use your standard brush on a lower subdivision and then raise it up. You could probably even get away with using your standard brush on a higher subdivision. It doesn't really destroy it. And if you want, you can go through here and you can put in new pores. You can enhance the pores with, if we go to BC, there's a contrast delta and a contrast target. You can use these to like further enhance pore detail if you want. I think we'll go ahead and leave that. So let's say this is our new brow up. We're getting those wrinkles in there. If we go back here and we turn on our colorize and we go back to, well, we can go flat color. You're going to see we do have some AO built in. However, and I'll go back to skin shader. You know that when our brow goes up, that color, you know, deepens in here. There's blood pooling maybe, and there's some color happening here. So if you want to enhance that, feel free. Your Polypaint gets baked out as well as your normal. So you can hop in here to your standard brush, turn on RGB, turn off Z-Add, or hit BPA to grab your paintbrush, which is just your standard brush with RGB turned off and Z-Add, RGB turned on, Z-Add turned off. RGB intensity, I'm going to drop that down maybe to the 40s. I'm going to sample just tap C on your keyboard hovering over and you'll sample a red. I'll drop that down just a bit, and you can go in here and just manually kind of paint a little bit of this wrinkle depth in here. Ooh, and again, I switch back to standard brush. I'm going to drop that RGB intensity down. And again, I'm just going to do kind of a rough pass of just deepening the color softly in these wrinkle areas. And then if you want to, you can make this RGB intensity more intense, and then tap S on your keyboard to make your draw size smaller. Go up here to your draw size, drop that down, and you can go in here and you can do like an even deeper coloring in here. And again, if you go back to your flat color material, you'll see this is what you're doing. And you can even use the pre-existing wrinkles to go through here and just enhance what's there. You're just darkening the wrinkles that are already on there. So get as crazy as you want with this, you know, as high fidelity as you want. I'm going to stop here. So we're going to go back to our skin shader 4. We've got colorize turned on. We've finished doing brow raise. So we're going to switch over here to eye squint. And it is the exact same process. Go in here, change your eye squint. You can turn off colorize. Oops, it looks like it turned back on the texture map. If it ever does that, just go back here to your texture map, turn that off, and then turn your colorize back on. You're fine. It's already been baked out to your base. Oh, and that's because we have diffuse still turned on. Turn diffuse off. We don't need that texture map on. Sorry about that. We've already got it baked to Polypaint. I'm gonna skip this one. I could fix it and change it however I want. That's totally fine. I'm gonna switch over here to mouth pucker. It's a little bit more interesting. And I'm gonna bring up my reference. So you're gonna see when I do a mouth pucker, it goes really, it basically makes this type of shape, right? When he does his mouth pucker, it's not as pronounced. Now, that's not to say this character needs to have my mouth shape. We are two very different creatures, right? But, you know, I do want to enhance this a little bit. So what we're going to do is we're going to enhance the shape, and then we're going to enhance the wrinkles that get baked in. So again, I'm going to go in here, turn off colorize. We'll go to a white color, choose green metallic as our material. I'm going to go drop down to subdivision level 1. Now remember, it's already put us into the recording mode of our mouth pucker. So any changes I make is going to make a change to this mouth pucker. If you want to see that, go up to subdivision level 6, and now you can kind of scroll through here. You'll see mouth pucker is turned on and record is turned on. So again, this is kind of a subtle mouth pucker. I'm going to go through here. I'm going to turn on X symmetry, just tap X on my keyboard, and I'm really going to I'm going to push, really stretch and push these lips together, really compress these lips. And in fact, if you remember, we have polygroups on here. So I can go through here, hold down Control Shift and tap this polygroup. I'm going to go to the side, hit BS. We're going to grab the spiral brush. If you just spiral, it's going to spiral the wrong way. So hold down Alt and just tap that. And that's actually going to curl that geometry out. So again, if you look at this from the side, you know, this geometry, or my lips kind of curl up. You can capture that on that top lip. And of course you can go in here and you can move these verts around. And again, we're just changing the shape. Control Shift tap to bring all your polygroups back. Control Shift tap this one. Again, go back into BSE. J, which is spiral, and then we're just going to tap this a few times. We're going to spiral that geometry out a little bit, Control-Shift-Tap here, and now we've got a mouth pucker. You can go into Move Brush. If you don't want to use Polygroups, you can also, or if you want to use this in conjunction with Polygroups, go in here to Brush, Auto Masking, turn on Topological. We'll change our range down to like 1.5 here, and then if I go in here with my Move Brush now, I can move that lower lip independently from the upper lip. Although, you know, I'll leave that up to you if you want to use that. I'm going to go ahead and turn that off. So now we've made the shape different. This is the base shape. You don't have to worry about like, oh, where does it mask? That mask is just for what's being baked for your expression wrinkles. So when you're just talking about shapes, you can change whatever you want to on this face. That still gets sent back over to Character Creator. But for the masked area for our details, we'll go back up to subdivision level 6. And you're going to see, you know, we're compressing the skin quite a bit. And on my lips, sorry, I keep having to look at my face so much. I don't love it. So you're going to see I'm getting this kind of compression in my lips here. So I'm going to kind of copy that. And again, you don't have to do this on subdivision level 6, but I think this is fine. So I'm going to hold down Control-Shift, tap this upper lip to get this polygroup, go back into our damn standard 02. We're going to turn off X symmetry. I'm going to pause my video right at the peak. And then I'm going to go through here and just kind of copy. So we're going to have a deep... and also, he has a scar in his face, so we're going to make sure we maintain that. In fact, we'll even enhance that scar on ours. And then over here, we're going to go through here, and I'm just going to kind of cut in kind of where the skin would be compressing. Just nice, big, chunky skin wrinkles here on the lips, and then Control-Shift-Tap the bottom here. And again, just put in those nice, juicy expression wrinkles on the lips here. I don't have the juiciest lips, but again, it's better than what was here, which was kind of a flat. Again, it didn't have any built-in wrinkles, so it didn't have anything there, so we're just adding them. Again, you can go back in here with your standard brush. You know, make sure RGB is turned off for your standard brush. Turn on Z-Add, and now we can go through here and we can enhance these wrinkles, really kind of puff them out a little bit, or use your Form Soft if you'd like. Whatever you want to use, and we'll go through here and we'll enhance. We'll kind of puff this out a little bit. So we've changed our shape, and also look around the lips too. If you want to see what's being baked in, you can apply the mask. And you'll see this entire area is getting wrinkle information baked in. If I am just changing the shape, that's when I'll drop down to subdivision level 1 or 2. I'm thinking about the forms, and I'm going to go through here, and my reference or my video, this actually, let's turn on X symmetry again. This section up here actually kind of gets a little more flesh involved here. And then right along here, it kind of bubbles out, and then it kind of cuts in underneath here. So again, get some good reference. And if you are sculpting a, you know, certain type of character, I would say go see if you can find somebody who's kind of like that character, and see if you can find reference of that face, that type of face moving around, because it's really going to enhance the character. I'm going to hold down Shift and turn down my Z intensity on my smooth because it's a little much. And again, since we're messing with shape, I don't care to bake this to a detail or anything. So I'm going to Control Drag to get rid of that, because again, I'm just going through here and enhancing the shape, which isn't going to be limited by the mask. So I think this is good enough. We've got the shape kind of built in here. So let's keep moving. I'm going to go back up to subdivision level 6. We're going to turn our colorize back on. We're going to go chin up. I'm going to skip eye blink. We'll go ahead and look at that real quick. And this one should be pretty straightforward. I'll bring up my reference just so I can see. Pretty straightforward. I do have some wrinkles here, but those wrinkles smooth out when my eye goes down, right? So that's the big takeaway from the eye blink. And if we look at this eye blink here, again, I'm going to turn off that colorize so we can see a little bit better. You're going to see when these eye blinks happen, it brings like a glob of flesh along with it. That should just flatten out. So we need to fix that for sure. And that's a shape issue. So I'm going to drop this down to subdivision level 1, and we're going to go through here. We'll turn on polyframe too so we can see a little bit better. And I'm going to hold down Shift, and we're just going to smooth that glob of flesh out, and then we're going to go through here and just sculpt this so it's nice and flat. There we go, and just use our smooth brush a little bit. So we'll smooth that out. And if we go up to subdivision level 2, you'll see we still got a little bit of a remnant of that flesh here. So we'll go ahead and do that. If your eye isn't completely closed, and in fact, if we go in here and we turn off, let me see if I can find it, this eye winker, we'll go ahead and turn that off. You'll see my eyes don't actually close that well. We can fix that too. That's a shape thing. So I'm going to hold down Control Shift and tap this upper lid here. I'm going to Control Tap to mask it, Control Shift Tap to bring everything back, and then Control Tap to invert that mask. And now I can go through here and I can just move this down, or you can use your Move Topological if that's fewer steps for you. And so we can, again, we're just finessing and fine tuning this eye closed shape. I think this is good. Control Tap to invert this mask. We'll pull this upper lid or this lower lid up just a hair. And now our eye shape looks a lot better. This is going to be nice and smooth. In fact, I'm going to go up one more subdivision level and we'll just, you know what, we'll keep smoothing. There are some wrinkles that happen there, but they're not super pronounced. So I'll go through here and then we'll go back up to subdivision level 6 and we'll just finish this out with a little bit of detailing because we do maintain some wrinkles, you know, in the corners of the eye here. At least on my face we do. A few wrinkles right through here. This is pretty smooth through here, and we can put a little indications of some memory wrinkles in here since he's a little more sun damaged. He might have been a smoker than I am. So if we're good with this eye blink now, we're going to turn color eyes back on. We're just going to keep moving, jaw open. Oh, and one thing I forgot to mention is you're going to see this jaw open, the teeth didn't go with it. I really don't care about that much, but if you want, we can turn jaw open off. We can go back up to this button up here, update eyes, teeth, and tongue, and then when we go back down here to jaw open, that will ensure that the teeth move along with this shape. Now, two things. Number one, when I do my jaw open, my mouth shape, you see how the upper lip is kind of dominant. It doesn't, it's mostly upper lip, and then it does a sharp curve or sharper curve to my lower lip than it does here, where it's kind of even, you know, it's like 50-50. So I'm going to change the shape a little bit. So I'm going to turn off color eyes here. We're going to, and also from the side here, it kind of mangled this shape here. It does bunch up the geometry. If I go to my side view, you get to look at my neck rolls. Sorry about that. Here's my chin, and then here's this one neck roll. And you know what? Let's go ahead and play this while we're talking about it. Here. So again, when my jaw goes down, this all bunches up, and I'm left with 1, 2, 3 wrinkles over here on my neck. So we're going to keep that. This is obviously wrong. So we're going to fix this shape. So subdivision level 1, we'll drop down. We'll go ahead and smooth this out. We'll go up in subdivision level 2. We'll smooth this out again. And now I'm going to go through here and use my, let's go to subdivision level 3. I'm going to use my damn standard 02 brush. And again, using my own reference here, we're going to say this right here kind of bunches out. We'll just use our standard brush or Form Soft brush. This right here bunches out. This flesh kind of bunches out. And then right behind the chin here, I'm going to go back in with my damn standard 02. And if it ever loses your alpha, just go in here to brush, go to the very bottom here, say reset all brushes. That'll go ahead and put your alpha back. So now we're going to go through here. And again, I'm just following this line down. And right about here, this will start bunching up. So again, now when the jaw opens, this will look a little more natural. And if we go through here and with our jaw open, we say apply mask, all of this right here is going to get baked out to normal detail. So if you want to go up to subdivision level 6 and, you know, really get specific with like how these wrinkles are going and how it interacts with the pores and any of that stuff, you can go ahead and sculpt that in and polypaint it to your heart's desire. Now you'll notice this is all masked out. So you may think, oh no, for jaw open, the mouth shape isn't right. Remember, this is only showing you where normal detail is going to get baked. I don't care about the normal detail. I care about the shape. So I can drop down to a lower subdivision level, control drag, because I don't care about masking, and I can fix this shape. So now whenever the jaw opens, again, I'm going to give a little more favor to my top lip. It's going to be maybe 70-30 instead of 50-50 like it is now. So we're going to go ahead and drop this shape down, and then we can even smooth this out a little bit. Again, I'm holding down shift and drop my Z intensity down on my smooth there. So we can smooth this out a little bit. And again, this is subdivision level 1. This is our game res that we're changing for our mouth open. In fact, I can even narrow this down if I want. I don't want to narrow it too much because it's going to poke through the teeth. But we can go ahead and narrow this shape. And again, this is updating our shape. Super easy to do, and actually kind of nice to do in ZBrush. If you're used to changing shapes in other programs with soft selection and stuff, it's not nearly as fast or as fun as it is with ZBrush. So there's our new mouth shape with our new neck wrinkles that can get baked out, and we're good to go. So I'll go back up to subdivision level 6. We'll turn our colorize back on, and we'll keep moving. Brows drop. Just so while that's coming in, here it is, the forehead kind of comes down and I'm getting these nice wrinkles, and then also some supplementary wrinkles on the side of the brow here. So again, here's our brow drop. I'm going to turn off colorize here. And again, we do have those built-in memory wrinkles. They're just not being very enhanced. So I'm going to go down here to subdivision level 4, and I'm going to turn on our apply mask just so I know where my wrinkle detail is being baked, and it's right in here. So I'm going to go ahead and smooth. I'm going to simplify these wrinkles in here because when it compressed those memory wrinkles, it kind of made it noisy. So I'm going to simplify this a bit. I'm going to turn off X symmetry because, again, wrinkles aren't super symmetrical. I'm going to enhance this big wrinkle right above the nose here, and I've got that too. This big wrinkle right here, and then I'm going to kind of use the existing memory wrinkles, and that may not be the right word that I'm using there, but we'll call it that. I think it's for clothing. I'm going to go through here, and I'm going to kind of bubble this out, and then again go back in with my damn standard 02, and we'll cut in, again, just using the pre-existing wrinkles. There's a big pre-existing wrinkle. We'll go ahead and say we'll enhance this, and we'll enhance this wrinkle, and we'll enhance this wrinkle here. And we'll enhance this wrinkle here, and then I'm going to go back in with my standard brush or my form brush, whatever you want to use, and we'll kind of bubble and enhance these expression wrinkles. And all this is going to get baked in because it's within the masked area here. So again, that skin is compressing, and there we go. Now we got some nice wrinkles. I'm going to continue this wrinkle back into the eye here, back towards the eye, I should say. And if we go up to subdivision level 6, you'll see we'll get our noise back. And in fact, I am going to kind of smooth out. These wrinkles aren't helping, so I'm just going to go through here and smooth this area out. If you do want to introduce some quick noise back in, because you don't want smooth skin there, you can go into your standard brush, swap out the alpha with alpha 23, and then drop your Z intensity way down, and then you can just kind of do some noise, just basically painting with just generic noise, and that'll kind of reintroduce some noise back. So there's our new brow drop. Again, we'll unmask by control dragging. We'll turn our Polypaint back on. If you want to go in here and enhance the AO and stuff, you can, feel free. And then we'll keep moving. We'll go to nose sneer. So here's me again. And again, I apologize. I don't like looking at this any more than you do. So again, my nose is coming up, and look at all the flesh that's moving around right here in my cheeks and compressing around my eye and right in here. So again, we want to kind of capture that because I have a feeling when we turn off this colorize and we go down here to our layers, to our nose sneer, turn off record, and then drop this down, there's not a lot of, and it's going up, but there's not a lot of flesh movement happening here. It's kind of lame, I'll be honest. So again, I'm going to turn record back on for nose sneer. We'll turn off our colorize. We'll drop down. Again, this is the lower we drop down. If we go to subdivision level 1, this is a shape change. So you're not changing anything that's going to be baked. This is actually changing the overall shapes here. And even when I'm in subdivision level 2 and 3, I still consider those mostly shape changes. It's not until I get into 4, 5, and 6 that I'm thinking about normal detail. So we'll go to subdivision level 2. And again, just looking at my own face as reference, this nostril is coming up, so I'm going to turn on X symmetry. We're going to smooth this out a little bit, and I'm going to raise these nostrils up, and maybe even, I'm hesitant to do this, but I'm going to go in here and do like a little inflate around here. Now, there might be some normal baking errors that's going to happen in here because this geometry is getting very close. It is what it is, I suppose. I'm not going to worry too much about that. But I am definitely going to go in here with my standard brush or my form brush. Let's switch back to alpha off, Z intensity back up, and then we're just going to go through here, and we're just going to, again, give ourselves that nice compressed flesh of the face. All this movement is moving up here, and that flesh has got to go somewhere, and it's going to just kind of pillow out right through here. So this is a much more convincing sneer happening. And again, all this is compressing in here, so we're going to go ahead and enhance this meaty area in here. And then we'll go back to subdivision level, let's say subdivision level 4. And again, we still have our memory wrinkles from our face in there. If we go in here and apply our mask, you'll see right along here, and all of this is being baked for this expression. So you got a lot of leeway. I am going to, again, simplify this here, and then I'm going to go back in with my, let's turn off X symmetry. And I'm going to go through here and just carve this in for this nice big fat wrinkle. And then again, just so I can show you what I'm looking at here, all of this along here, see how these nice wrinkles that are happening on top of my nose so that skin is compressing? I'm going to use the pre-existing wrinkles, the memory wrinkles from the Sculpt, and just kind of enhance those. We'll go in here and we'll kind of dig these in. And again, this isn't symmetrical. You don't want to make these wrinkles all symmetrical and stuff. Give it some personality. Go through here and just really kind of dig these in and crisscross them around. There we go. And then we'll go back in here again with our standard brush or our form brush, and we'll just kind of puff these wrinkles out, get them nice and compressed. So now we got a nice sneer going, much, much better. Let's go ahead and go back up to subdivision level 6, control drag to unmask, turn colorize back on, and we'll keep moving. We'll go to mouth frown. And I'm going to say this mouth frown is pretty close. I almost do a cartoon mouth frown. I guess we can match that a little bit. So again, we'll turn off colorize. You know the drill by now. If we're changing the shape, we'll just drop down to subdivision level 1. I'm going to turn on X symmetry. I'm going to go into my move brush here, and we'll just kind of turn these down a little bit. Again, feel free to go through here and really fine tune. Just be careful when we get into changing the details and what's going to be baked out. Remember to go in here and say apply mask so you can see on the mouth frown. If you're changing the shape, change whatever you want, but just remember on mouth frown specifically, it's only going to capture any wrinkle detail you put in this area here. This is fine. Let's do neck tighten. That's a big one. So by default, the neck tighten is pretty subtle. My neck tighten, I'm not saying you need to do this. This is a very extreme neck tighten. Like, it really pops when the character moves if you choose to do this type of neck tighten. I'm going to do it just for demonstration purposes. So we'll, again, go turn off colorize. We have a neck tighten selected, so we're recording. I'm going to drop down to subdivision level. We'll do subdivision level 2. Even though this is a shape change, it's sometimes easier to see a little bit more volumes in order to make some of these decisions. So basically, from right here, it's going to cut straight back my platysma into this area. Now, while I'm sculpting across forms with my standard brush, you're going to see it's like blobbing out and blobbing back in. Don't be afraid to go back through here and use your move brush to, kind of make these be more of a straight shot, across these different volumes here. So we'll go ahead and pull those out. And in fact, let's go to subdivision level 3. Yeah, there we go. So again, I got this from the kind of, I'll show you what I'm looking at again. From here's my jaw, and then right in here, this big old cord is cutting straight back. And then I've got some extra cords in here that cut across my Adam's apple there, and then these cords here. Again, I'm sorry you're having to look at my face so much, more than usual. So we'll go through here, and I'm gonna just, again, we're gonna do it. This is all so quick and dirty. Obviously take your time and do really good shapes. I'm just going through here and I'm just cutting across real quick, and we'll cut down. These will tighten up too. And then remember, while I'm doing this, it's just following the forms that are there. But these things are cutting across. So we're gonna go to the side here, and we're gonna use our move brush to ensure that these things are cutting straight across here. They're really, pronounced and really popping out from the neck here. So move your camera, go in here with your move brush, and make sure these cords are nice and straight and tight and doing what we expect here. So just taking another quick look through. We can even have like a cord that's going like this way, maybe a little bit. And again, this is a little bit of a hybrid. This is shape information, but really remember the shape that's getting sent over is just this kind of a blanket of quads. All of this stuff above subdivision level 2 is details that's getting baked in. So of course we want to go and apply our mask and make sure that all this work we're doing is getting baked. And luckily for Neck Titan, all of this is going to get baked in, no problem. So we're in good shape here. So again, we're just going to keep continuing cutting across here. I think this is looking pretty good. I'm going to go up to subdivision level 4. We'll keep making these chords stand out a little bit more. And again, this is an extreme Neck Titan. It might be out of place for the character you're working on. If you're working on, a very a character who's not going to have a lot of platysma exploding out while they're moving their head and their jaw, then maybe don't go this extreme. But for creature character work like this, I like to push it. So again, this is fine. Go up to subdivision level 6 and detail this out as much as you want. You can go in here and you can, again, paint in your Polypaint if you'd like. We'll turn our colorize back on. We'll mouse smile. We'll switch to. This one's pretty good, but again, we're moving around a lot of flesh. So we want to make sure that as that flesh is happening, we're really kind of bubbling out some of these features here. So again, some of this can fall flat a little bit. So again, I'm going to drop down to subdivision level 2-ish and then go through here and really kind of give it a little oomph here. And in this case, since we're not painting, I'm going to turn off RGB. I will use my clay brush and my smooth brush, and we'll use this, or my inflate brush too isn't a bad one to use to go through here and kind of inflate these cheeks to make sure that as we're smiling, this flesh is getting moved. Now remember, if we're doing any wrinkle sculpting, like in subdivision level 3, 4, 5, or 6, in those high res areas, make sure you go in here and apply mask, and you can see what's being dialed in. I think this is probably fine. I'm not going to worry too much about this. Let's turn our Z intensity down a bit, and we'll go through here and we'll enhance these shapes just a tad. That's fine. Nice smile. We'll go back up to subdivision level 6, turn our Polypaint back on, and cheek raise I'm going to skip. Feel free. Brow up compress. This will be our last one. So here you can see I'm just kind of pushing my brows together, and some skin is kind of bubbling in between my brows there. So we'll go ahead and dial those in. And remember, my guy already has nice leathery, wrinkly skin. So the wrinkles that are there are just going to enhance what's already there. So again, I'm going to go back into my, let's drop down to subdivision level 4. I'm enhancing what's already there. I'm going to turn off X symmetry, and we're just going to kind of sculpt this in. We'll take this one here. And remember, let's apply that mask so we know we're within the correct range of what we're changing here. And in fact, on me, this whole area kind of smooths out a little bit. So I'm going to follow that lead a little bit, and we'll go back in with our standard brush, and we'll kind of, I'm not going to get rid of all the wrinkles because again, he's a little more leathery than I am. But I am going to smooth that out just a tad. And then again, all these pre-existing wrinkles, I'm just going to kind of follow their lead, and we'll kind of go through here and enhance that. So all this flesh is going to be compressed. Go back in with your standard brush, and we'll bubble it out just a bit, or your form brush, or whatever brushes you want to use. Again, if you lost some noise, you can go in here with your standard brush, dot stroke with alpha 23, and you can just kind of brush back over with a very low Z intensity and bring some of that noise back. But I think we're okay. That's looking pretty good. So we'll say we're good to go. I'm going to turn on our colorize. We'll turn off brow compress. We're going back to our neutral face, and we're ready to send this all back to Character Creator. So everything we've changed, all the shapes, all the expression wrinkles. One thing we didn't change is the base. We didn't make any changes to that base face. So when I go over here to Face Tools and I say Update to Character Creator, we can uncheck this entire first box because we didn't make any base changes. We did, on that brow up, we did paint in some information in our Polypaint for our wrinkles. So we'll go ahead and turn that on. I'm going to turn these, we're going to make these individualized, not generalized wrinkles. 2048 is fine. We changed all of our shapes. I think I skipped some, but I don't remember which one, so I'll just have them all checked. And obviously this has to be checked up here. So all our expression shapes, our expression morphs, those are our shapes, our wrinkle normal maps, and we did do some poly painting. So all of this gets checked, and we're going to say Update to Character Creator. And again, it's sending all of our updated shapes back. It's baking out our normal maps. It's baking out our Polypaint if we polypainted in our expression wrinkles. It's sending those 4 wrinkle sets back to Character Creator, and then the Character Creator system is allowing their system to kind of blend in the left and the right. And as the brow raises, those normal maps will pop in, those Polypaints will pop in, or the texture map will pop in, I should say. It's doing all of that under the hood. Once it's done, it's been successfully exported. You can click on this. It'll keep doing some stuff. We'll hop over to Character Creator. It's going to load everything in. Since we didn't update any of the base, it's not going to ask us in that dialog box if we want to update, skeletons or bones or to morphs or anything like that. But because we did deactivate our expression wrinkles, in fact, we deleted them out of here, it's going to ask us, hey, in order for us to update your expression wrinkles, we need to activate them. So we'll go ahead and say, sure, activate it, hit update. And there we go. Everything's been updated. So again, when the brow goes up, we have activate expression wrinkles, check with expressions turned on. When we click that and our brow raise goes up, it's going to dial in that normal map. So if we hover over these, there's our poly painted brow up. Here's our normal map baked in. You can see those big fat wrinkly forehead wrinkles up there. Everything's working as expected. So I have all of my updated shapes, all of my updated expression wrinkles. So let's go in here to Content, scroll down until we get to Stage, Lightroom. We'll double click Authority just to change the mood a little bit in here. And then we're going to go in here to Motion, Wrinkle Check, Dramatic Male. And we're going to check all of our shapes in here. In fact, if you are actually doing like a calisthenics check, you can go in here to Content, Animation, Expression, Wrinkles, and there are some, wrinkle creation, sample animation, regional influences that you can dial in, but we'll just use this. So we'll go ahead and hit play. And now we got our custom smile. We got all of our wrinkles coming in. And again, if you watch the neck down here on some of these shapes, you'll see the platysma kick in a little bit more than would be in the default. There we go. That's kind of kicking in there a little bit. The brow up is matching the expression, the memory wrinkles that are already in there. Nothing's really happening that's out of place or too noisy. So again, you can do this as many times as you want. You can throw it back into Face Tools, update any individual expression wrinkle, update your shapes. If any shapes are bothering you, you can send it back to ZBrush. You don't have to do expression wrinkles. You can just go and update shapes if you want. Also remember, you can even change your entire character at this point. You can go in here. Let's go to Pose, A Pose, and we'll go back to Content, Lightroom, Default, CC4. If there's anything you don't like about the base body, feel free to go in here to Morphs and just morph it around. Or you can send it back to ZBrush, change any of the base shapes that you want, and then when you send it back to Character Creator, just say, check the left side, uncheck the right side, and you're just updating the base shape. So it's a very flexible system. You can just do exactly what you want, whenever you want. It's doing all the baking for you. So that was the body and head to Face Tools workflow. The previous part of the series was Face Tools to body workflow. This is probably my preferred workflow, but whatever works for you, you have the information to do either one if you'd like. And in this next video, what we're going to do is we're going to take a plugin called Headshot 2.0, and we're going to take an old ZBrush legacy sculpt and use Headshot to convert it to a CC topology compatible character that we can then either take through the body workflow or through the head workflow. But at least you can take an old project and convert it to CC topology to make it much more usable in their ecosystem.